Good evening, all. I would like to call this meeting to order and welcome everyone here this evening. Welcome to all members of council that are joining us both in person and virtually this evening. Welcome to our staff and to our county planner, Megan Tid-Hernick, who's joining us this evening, and thank you for that. Welcome to all members of the public and any media that may be in attendance. This meeting has been called to hear an application under the Planning Act that requires a public meeting and for council or the Committee of Adjustment to consider any decisions related to those relevant applications. Meetings of council are live streamed on the Township's official website in accordance with the live streaming and virtual participation of meetings policy. By attending this meetings, attendees and participants are consenting to their image, voice, and comments being recorded and available for public viewing on the Township's website. Do any members of council have a pecuniary interest this evening or potential conflict of interest of any agenda item that we have? Thank you for that. We do have a public meeting, and I will entertain a mover and a seconder to adjourn our regular council meeting and open the public meeting to review zoning bylaw amendment application Z 2024-03, Medibide Holdings Inc. and Z 2024-04, Dalton. Deputy Mayor and Councillor Hickey. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. I thank you for that. I would like to now call our public meeting to order and indicate that meetings of council are live streamed on the Township's official website in accordance with the live streaming and virtual participation of meetings policy. By attending this meeting, attendees and participants are consenting to their image, voice, and comments being recorded and available for public viewing on the Township's website. Do any members have a pecuniary interest or general nature thereof of the agenda items that we have in front of us this evening? Seeing none, I thank you. We are considering item 3.1, that is the zoning bylaw amendment application file Z 2024-03, Medibide Holdings Inc. We have been provided the background information on this, and I will now call on our planner, Megan Tid-Hernick, for any comments that she may have at this time. Please, Megan.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and councillors. For the first application, ZBA 2024-03, we have received notification today from the owner and the applicant requesting to defer the application. They are requesting to defer it until our November 12th planner meeting. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So, I will ask for a show of hands if council is in agreement with deferral of this. And that is supported by council. Thank you very much. Would you care to address this, please, on 3.2? That is the bylaw amendment application file Z 2024-04, Dalton, please. And just while you're getting that up, we have been provided this report, and the purpose of this meeting is to consider changing the zoning and the property described as Concession 13, West Division, Part Lot 4 of Ashfield, 35452 Zion Road. And the public meeting is held under the Planning Act, which requires the council hold at least one public meeting and the proper notice be given. And notice was given on the 18th day of September 2024. Megan, at your convenience.
Great, thank you. Good evening. Tonight we have the minor variance application. Nope, sorry. Wrong one. That's the next one. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. We have the rezoning application at 35452 Zion Road to allow for the construction of a chicken barn in the front yard. So here you can see the subject property outlined in orange. It is a small agricultural property with the house located on the side. If you can see my cursor, this is the house over here, and with a large storage shed at the back of the building, or at the back of the property. This is the proposed location of the chicken barn. The applicant has submitted a nutrient management plan with the proposal, and they have confirmed that the nutrient units will be located on a different property. When speaking with the applicant, it will be moved to the neighboring property, and it has been assured that it can still be moved in the wintertime. So in circulating the application, we did not receive any comments from the public. Maitland Valley Conservation Authority provided comments and they had no concern. ACW staff had no concern in general, but that there should be a 100-foot setback required from the building to the lot line. The proposed is 55 feet from the lot line. To mitigate this factor, the building will either need to be engineered on that one side or enter into a limiting distance agreement. So this has been discussed with the applicant, and they are open to working to remedy this situation with, hopefully a limiting distance agreement if the neighbor agrees to do so. So it is recommended that council approve the zoning bylaw amendment on the basis that a special zone will be created to allow for the barn to be located in the front yard, and all other provisions of the zoning bylaw will be met. If you have any questions,
Okay,
feel free.
thank you very much for that. Following process, does the applicant and or agent have any comments that they would care to make at this time? Thank you. Now I will open it up to the members of the public. Is there any members of the public that would like to speak in opposition to this application at this time? Kelly, you're not aware of any online? Is there any members of the public that would like to speak in favor of this application at this time? Seeing none, I will now turn it over to council if there's any questions or comments from any members of council. Seeing none, I would like to note that if a person or public body that files an appeal of a decision of ACW Township in respect to the proposed rezoning but does not make written or oral submissions before the proposed rezoning is adopted, the Ontario Land Tribunal (OLT) may dismiss all or part of the appeal. It is the recommendation of our county planner that we approve zoning bylaw amendment application Z 2024-04 Dalton, and I will ask for a show of hands if council is in support of this. And that is supported by council, and I thank you for that. Megan, what effect of public and agency comments would you recommend on this decision, please?
I am recommending 2A, no public comments were received, so there was no effect on the decision. And 3B, agency comments were received in support of the application, the effect of which resulted in a decision to approve the application.
Thank you. The recommendation is for 2A and 3B be the effect of public and agency comments, and I will ask for a show of hands of councils in support of this. And that is supported by council. Thank you very much. The procedure following the public meeting, if this is a public meeting, not a council meeting, therefore a decision of council may or not be made tonight. If the bylaw is passed, the clerk must send notice of the passing of the bylaw to all persons and public bodies prescribed and to any person or public body that has requested it. There is a 20-day objection period from the time notice of passing has been sent, where submissions will be received by the clerk. If an objection is received, an appeal is lodged with the Ontario Land Tribunal (OLT), and the municipality no longer has jurisdiction of the file and or processing time. You may only file an appeal if you have submitted oral or written comments prior to the decision of council. The fee for filing an appeal is $1,100, payable by certified check or money order in Canadian funds made out to the Minister of Finance, and must be accompanied by appellant form in brackets A1. If council does not pass the bylaw, the applicant may appeal to the OLT. If the bylaw is passed and no objections are received within the 20-day appeal period, the clerk will certify that the bylaw is in force and effect as of date of this passing, and notice is forwarded to the planning department and to the applicant. With that, I will entertain a mover and a seconder to close our public meeting. Moved by Councillor Miltenberg, seconded by Councillor Snowblin. All in favor of this motion. And that is carried. I thank you. And I will now entertain a mover and a seconder to reconvene our regular council meeting. Councillors Blake and Forrester, all in favor of this motion? And that is carried. We now move into our Committee of Adjustment, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder to adjourn our regular council meeting and open the Committee of Adjustment meeting to review minor variance application MV-2024-09 Beacom. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Miltenberg. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. I would like to call our Committee of Adjustment meeting to order and ask if any members have a pecuniary interest or potential conflict of interest of the agenda item in front of us. Seeing none, I thank you. We are discussing minor variance application file MV-2024-09 Beacom, and we have been provided this application in advance, and this application for Mary, I will turn it over now to our planner for any comments that you have to us on this, please, Megan.
Okay, good evening. Now we're going to talk about the minor variance. This is located at 55 Loftus Street in Auburn, and this is to allow for the construction of an addition to an existing house. So here you can see the subject property outlined in orange. The neighboring properties are residential uses. The orange outline is from MPAC. It does look a little bit skewed, but it is in the general location of the property. Here we have a site plan. You can see the existing home. There's an existing storage building at the back of the property, and you can see on the side here the proposed addition. Here we have an elevation drawing. This is looking from the street towards the house. This is what it would look like from the streetscape. So the next two slides show the subject property. It is the White House here in the foreground, the neighboring houses and their proximity to the street. So this first photo is looking to the south, and you can see the proximity to each other. A survey was provided as part of the application to show that all of the structures are on the subject property. It is not encroaching onto any of the municipal road right-of-way. So here we're looking to the north. The subject property is the White House here, and you can see the neighboring property has very similar sight lines. So when we circulated the application, we did not receive any public comments to date. ACW staff wanted to note that no doors or openings were going onto the street. That was not being proposed, so that was a good thing, with only 1.6 feet between the house and the property line. We didn't want to have any further encroachment issues in the future. So it is the recommendation that council approve the minor variance on the basis that it is minor in nature and there is no expected impact on the neighboring properties. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Megan. So it is the recommendation that this application for minor variance be approved by considering the recommended motion at the appropriate time. I'll open it up to any members of the public. Is there anyone that members of the public that would like to speak in opposition to this application? Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this application? Hearing none, would the applicant care to make any comments? Okay. Thanks for that. So I'll open it up to council now if we have any questions or comments of our planner on this. And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Committee of Adjustment approve minor variance application MV-2024-09 Beacom on the basis that it is minor in nature and that there is no expected impact on the surrounding parcels. And further that the approval be subject to the following conditions. The proposed structure be constructed consistently with the site plan and elevation drawings as submitted with the application to the satisfaction of the township's chief building official, and that the variance's approval be valid for a period of 18 months from the date of the committee's decision. A mover and a seconder for this, please. Councillor Hickey and Blake. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. I thank you. Megan, what effective public and agency comments would you suggest to us on this decision, please?
So for this one, I'm proposing 2A. No public comments were received on this application, so there was no effect on the decision. And 3B, agency comments were received in support of the application, the effect of which resulted in a decision to approve.
Thank you very much for that. It has been recommended that the effective public and agency comments in this decision be 2A and 3B, and I will seek approval of this with a show of hands by council, please. And that is supported by council. Thank you. And with that, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to close the public meeting, the Committee of Adjustment, please. Moved by Forrester and Miltenberg. All in favor of the motion? And again, that is carried, and I thank you for that. And I will now entertain a mover and a seconder to reconvene our regular council meeting. Blake and Hickey, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. There are no other planning items to consider. We'll move on to our bylaws, and we will defer on 5.1 and entertain a mover and a seconder that bylaw number 67-2024. Yep, 68. That is correct. I misread that. Thank you very much for that. Be approved. Deputy Mayor and Councillor Forrester, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. I thank you for that. And the confirmatory bylaw, a mover and a seconder for that, please. Councillor Blake and Snoblin. The lead be given to introduce bylaw number 69-2024, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Council, meeting held on October 8th, 2024, and then it now be read severally a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 8th day of October, 2024. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. I thank you. And a mover and a seconder to adjourn. Deputy Mayor and Miltenberg, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council does now adjourn to meet again on the 15th day of October at 9 a.m. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you very much to all members of council, our staff, and our planner in attendance this evening. Meeting is adjourned.